I'm going to show you this thistle because it's pretty mature and you'll be able to see better what they actually look like. You got to be careful, they're full of these spiny barbs. Down on these. Typically when you harvest this thistle, you want to wear heavy clothes and gloves so you don't get all hooked up, which I never do, so I always get hooked up. But, ow. You see what it looks like? Not hard to mistake. I mean, not easy to mistake. These spines are very sharp. And these leaves are actually edible if you want to take the time to clean off all these spikes, or steam it, or stew it, or soup it. It's all very healthy. And it has a great taste. Now, this one's kind of big, and even though it's early in the season, it's probably a tender stalk. I'm going to leave this one because it's so big. I'm going to come back later and harvest the seeds. I could harvest these bulbs right here and eat them like asparagus. There's a lot of nutrients in it, but I'd rather wait and come back to the seeds. So I'm going to let this flower continue to bloom, and we're going to pick another one to harvest. These are actually very easy to harvest. If you wear gloves, it's no problem. Typically cut the bulb off. Like I said, you can eat those, but there's so much trouble that nobody really does. Depending on where you harvest these, a lot of times the stalks will be full of fresh, clean water. So if you need water, but you always want to check it, because if there's a hole somewhere in here, then bugs will get in there and lay eggs, and you don't want to drink that. But the way we do it, we usually just try to skin as much of it on the stalk as possible while it's still planted. You want to use a big knife so that your hand is pretty far away, or a machete even. Because if these things get stuck in you, they really don't come out until they just rot. It's very annoying. And considering how big these things get, there's actually a lot of vegetable in here. And then you want to shave it. When they're young and tender like this, we always eat them raw. Of course, there's always more nutrients in a raw vegetable than a cooked one. But they will get to the point where they're too hard to eat raw, at which point you can just start stewing them or put them in a stew. Anything like that. These are just perfect with a little vinaigrette. Oh man, tastes like spring. Oh, very tender. Here, Scoot, you want a piece? No, I lost my my bag. I'm gonna have to put this in my bag or the dog's gonna eat it.
See, that could grow very large, and this is what the flowering head looks like. This is how you pull thistle seeds out. You take them by the fluff. Warning: do not hit the pointy parts. Take them out, and then you have seeds. And then you could eat them. You could save them. You could cook them. You could eat them raw. And you can't eat the fluffy part. Well, you can, but it don't taste right. You eat the seed.
When they get this big, you can tell how big this stalk is down here. It's about that big, probably the size of my arm. They're way too hard to eat, but they won't all do this, but if they get this big, they will. They'll make these stems for the flowering head. These stems are still tender, and if you peel it back, they're very sweet. They're actually a lot sweeter than the stalk. They taste pretty good, but when they get this big, there's only a few things you can still do with it. You can either eat the stems, harvest the flower, or the roots.
You can also eat the roots, and we're going to dig them up and show you what they look like today.
Just to make it easy, since it's going to die anyway, we're going to cut some of this off so that we can get close to it. You want to try and dig it up? You might have to dig kind of far back. Yeah, right there.
Well, at least help. That would be good.
I want a safe place to grab this. We cut a lot of it off in the process, but in here there's a decent sized root system, and this entire root is edible. You can boil it to soften. Let's see if we can get some more dirt off. And this root will last. You can keep this in a cool place like you can any root crop. It'll last several months as long as you don't wash it, don't put any water on it, leave the dirt on it, and you can store. But this whole thing is edible. I'd eat it to show you, but you know, mud. I don't think I'm gonna eat mud. But there you go. One of the very few plants that from root to flower is completely 100% edible and good for you.
We're out here collecting the thistle seeds.
We're gonna collect some seeds to store and dry for the rest of the year for medicinal purposes, because they're a good liver detox, and they also help to regenerate liver function. They're very good for you. As you can see, they get pretty big, and once you get to the point where these heads are starting to dry out a little bit, you can start to collect seed. Some of these are still a little bit young. We'll leave those, but we'll get the ones that we can get. Basically, you just want to look for the ones that are kind of open and dry. That one way at the top is good. Put all the little puff in there. We'll clean the puff out later. You can do this. We'll get another one. Put off some of these stickers. works well for this. We can just cut the top off, then when we get back we'll clean them out. Put a couple heads in them.
When they're very dry like this, you don't have to cut them. All you gotta do is pull the fluffy things out. They still hurt though.
Show them all the seeds.